Today I'm going to be talking about the Smart Box, and what this is a device that hooks up into your car and will change your wired Android Auto or Apple CarPlay into a wireless system. So when you get into your car, your phone will automatically connect with this device, which is already connected to the car system, and you would be able to access your Android Auto or CarPlay automatically. And like I said, you just get in and it will start playing your music, and you'll have your assistant to be able to talk to and give you directions and everything else. The company has made this device available to me to review, and I'll show you how to set this up, see how easy it is to use, and I'll use it for a little while in my car and see if there's any issues or glitches or any other problems that we have with it. As usual, this video is my own opinion and has not been submitted to anyone to review before it was published. So let's go ahead and open this up and see what we got. So this is the unit. Very tiny here. Got the USB-C hookup there. And the USB-A hookup here. That's what it looks like. Very light, pretty minimalistic. Also in the box, you get two adapters included in this. And this is the USB-A to USB-C, and this one's USB-C to USB-C, depending on what your car is. I think most cars that have the wired Android Auto or Apple CarPlay is probably going to use this one. So this is going to plug into the car, and then this would plug into the device. But it's nice that they give you another wire for the newer cars that still don't have the wireless option. You could just plug this in, which is really a nice feature. And you do get a nice instruction booklet here. I'll go through all this, and we'll go get in the car, and we'll set this thing up. So I'm in the car with the new device, wireless box it's called, and the company name is Smart Box. The advantage of this thing is that you can use Android Auto or Apple CarPlay with it. So I'm setting this up for the first time. You do have two plugs in here. This is the USB-C to USB-C, and this is the USB-A to USB-C, depending on whatever your car has. And I did actually look over the directions quick. They were very brief, and I'm just supposed to plug this in here and then plug this into here. Okay, so you have to have the Wi-Fi hooked up, and you're going to get an auto kit with a number after it. Okay, then we're going to hit a password, and in the directions it's 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So once you get that Wi-Fi set up, then with the Bluetooth, you're going to get an auto kit with some numbers after it. And you're going to have to pair it. Then it went from a solid red, now it's flashing red, which is always progress. And now we got flashing green. And after, oops, we had some, now Android Auto is all set up here. And you can click on this. You'd have to do this for the first time, and then it would automatically boot up every time you get in the car and turn on the radio. Now, just a couple of things to know about this device as you're setting it up. First off, if you have Android, the device instruction says you need Android 10 or higher, but Android Auto works on Android version 8 and higher. So as long as you have Android 8, it should work, but the directions for this device says Android 10. I'm not sure if that's 100% right or not. Then, if you do have Android 8 to 11, you're going to get an app with the Android Auto that you can click, and then you get into this, which is the settings feature. If you don't have that, if you have Android 12 or higher, then what you're going to need to do is go into settings, and then it's going to be in advanced features right here, and it even says Android Auto. So you just click on that, and here's Android Auto. And if you're not sure on this, you could just type in, search Android Auto in the settings, and this will pop up. But then there's a couple of features that you need to have set up on this appropriately. So you need to start Android Auto automatically, have that set to always. Android Auto while locked, so you want it to start every time you get into the car, even if your phone is locked. I have it where my phone is on a smart lock, so when I get into the car and it recognizes that Bluetooth, it will automatically unlock. But if you don't want that, and you do want to keep your phone locked, you could still run Android Auto with no problem. The other features are you could have start music automatically. You would do this if you just always want, when you get in the car, it's going to pick up where you left off on your last, what you were last playing. Then a couple other things. I have another video where I go through all these features in detail, which I'll link on the bottom there. But just quickly now, just to get this thing up and running, the only other thing you have to keep in mind is that for the system, you need to have a wireless Android Auto, and you need to have that clicked on to get it to work. Now, a couple other features just to keep in mind. Again, this is the box here, real tiny. This always plugs in to the USB-A on this car. Some of the newer cars might have USB-C in there, but usually most of them are USB-A, and that's there. And now this will only help you if you have a wired Android Auto connection to your car. It means your car supports Android Auto. As long as it has that, then this basically just turns it into a wireless Android Auto. But if you don't have the wire, then this is not going to do anything for you. This will also work with Apple CarPlay. If you do have the car set up to support wired CarPlay, Apple CarPlay, then this will make it wireless, which is real nice. So every time you get in the car, it will automatically just turn on your CarPlay or your Android Auto without you thinking about it. So on just short trips when you're going around the block or the grocery store or something like that, you'll have the Android Auto on there. That's what I use this thing for. You'll have the Google Assistant, so you could ask for the weather or directions, or it could show you the traffic, you can change your music or do whatever you want, and you don't even have to think about plugging it in or doing anything. It just automatically pops up, which is really nice. And the only other reason why sometimes this may not work is if you are not using the proper cable. This cable that hooks into the car does also have to be a data cable and not just a USB-A to USB-C. But as you saw, this was the first time I set this up, and it worked wonderful. It was very easy to do, and there are some troubleshooting things in the instructions, and it does give you a website to go to for that, and I'll link that in the bottom of the video. So far, this has been a real easy setup. I will use it for a little while, make sure it works okay, and give you an update on how everything goes with it. Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm back with an update. I've been using the smart box now for a few weeks, and honestly, it works great. It does exactly what it says it's going to do. It turns your wired Android Auto, a wired CarPlay system, and makes it into a wireless one. And it works perfectly. You get in the car, and it just automatically boots up. It basically makes it feel like your car has a built-in Android Auto, and it just automatically boots up every time you get in. And just a couple of things that I've learned while using it. So I have a couple of these devices, and it happens to all of them, but if there's an area with a lot of interference, a lot of radio interference, or if you're going into the wireless toll collecting areas, the Android Auto will cut out. But with this device, it boots it back up in about 10 seconds, and you don't need to do anything. You just keep driving, and it will automatically boot it back up, and it will pick up the song wherever you left off and start playing again. So that works great. When you first get in the car, it takes about 20 seconds for it to boot up to Android Auto, and that might vary depending on your car, on your phone, and everything else, but it took about 20 seconds for me. And if you lose a signal, which only happened a couple of times, it picks it back up in about 10 seconds. So very quick, a little quicker than some of the other devices I have. One bad thing, it did sort of glitch twice. I don't know exactly what happened, but it started the Android Auto, but it just wasn't fully functional. And all I did, just unplugged it from the car and just plugged it back in. 10 seconds later, it was all set up. So if that happens to you, again, just keep that in mind. And then, like I said, it worked perfectly after that. So this is also great. This is the the cord that came with it, so you don't need to worry about having the proper cable or anything like that. This just plugs in there. Just a couple other things to let you know about. This device is great if you don't have a navigation system in your car. You plug this in, and it will automatically use the Google Maps or the Apple Maps. The other thing is, with my car, the steering wheel functions worked perfectly, which was the toggle the next track of the music or to go to the previous track, toggle the volume up and down worked perfectly. Also, my steering wheel, which most cars probably have, is a little mic feature. So if you click on that, that engages the Google Assistant perfectly. So this device can recognize up to at least five phones, the company said. So that if you have a couple of people using the same car, no worries, you just leave this in the car plugged in, and then the person gets in the car, and it will recognize that phone and boot up, and it will boot up to their settings and their music and whatever they were playing. The only issue could arise is if two people have their phone set to be using this device because they alternate using the car or whatever, but then they are both in the car at the same time. Then the other person in the car will just need to disconnect their Bluetooth from the device, and then again it would automatically loop back in the next time they get in the car, but it would be disconnected for that drive. So all in all, again, I have no issues with this. This works. Something like this, it does what it says it does, and it does it kind of quietly in the background. So once you set it up, you don't even really aware that it's there. You just automatically, it happens, basically. So I do have a special discount for my audience. I will link it down in the bottom here. Go ahead and click that. I'll also put a couple of links down on the bottom there for where to get the device and all that kind of stuff. As usual, if you made it this far, go ahead and subscribe and leave any comments that you think might be helpful. And I'll keep using the device. If I come up with any other issues or thoughts, I will go ahead and update everyone. So remember, click in the description and I will leave a link there for a 12% discount for my audience. We'll see you on the next video. Thanks.